Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here of the Raptors Digest. Riker, we got it. It happened. The tank, it was worth it, Riker. Playing the kazoos all year. We jumped from 7 to 4th. Now, I know what a lot of people thinking, especially people that haven't followed the draft. 7 to 4. Why were you guys so hyped? Why were you so excited? Why were you so juiced? And to those people I say, this is a 4-person draft, and today we're breaking down the guy we're most likely going to get in Jalen Suggs, Riker, who, does he have superstar potential? Because that's what some people are saying.
And everyone knows that this is a 4-person draft. There's nobody that's questioning why we were so excited when we jumped from 7 to 4. Everyone knows the tank, if we hit top 4, it would be officially worth it. And here we are. Now, I am the least excited about Jalen Suggs of all of the prospects between Cade, Evan Mobley, Jalen Green, and then the other Jalen Suggs. You're going to defend him. I'm saying he fits the mold of a typical Toronto Raptor point guard. He's taller than the rest, 6'4", but a little bit less three-point shooting skills. His consistency isn't there yet, but he's that typical mold, bit of a bulldog. He can jump back and forth easily between playmaking and scoring, but he is the very farthest away from putting a guy on a team that can help the Raptors win more games. And because we have just such a group of point guards already secured for this Toronto Raptors team. But I don't want to go too into the negatives first. So Ben, take it away with the positives of Jalen Suggs.
Well, I'm surprised talking to a pre-podcast that you're lower on Jalen Suggs. Obviously, we both think he's very good. We're neither you nor I are disappointed that we're going to likely draft Jalen Suggs, and we're going to break down the Mobleys and the Greens and maybe even touch on Cade, but Cade's very unlikely. But Mobley and Green, we'll make a whole nother video on those two guys. But Suggs, I look at him, as you said it. You said it in a negative connotation. I look at it as a positive. The quintessential Toronto Raptor, Jalen Suggs. 6'4", combo guard, 205 pounds. And yeah, you brought up the shooting, 33% in college. You know, you look at his stats. Are they eye-popping? Not really. 14 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 50% from the field, which is solid for a guard. But Riker,
that's really solid for a guard.
Yeah, that's solid for a guard. But,
really solid for a guard.
But
especially on college defenses.
That's fair. Yeah, all those zones and the lack of spacing and all that. But this guy, he just has that winning mentality. Playing for Gonzaga, almost had the undefeated season, made it all the way to the championship game, hit that clutch shot. That's one thing. The Raptors love to draft these winners. Fred VanVleet, for example, in college, overlooked, but was a winner in college. He's a beast defensively. He's very athletic. And as you said, he's taller than the likes of Lowry and Fred for that guard position. So he can come in, use his speed, use his strength, and really clamp up some guys, whether he's playing the 1 or the 2. His quickness and that burst, right? Because there's guys that are fast in the NBA. Then there's guys that just have that explosiveness. And Jalen Suggs can come into that lane and just absolutely blow past anyone. Finish above the rim, around, with all those touches. I've seen some comparisons to Derrick Rose. I've seen the highest of highs, like the best comparisons for him. And you bring these up as well, as more an explosive Chauncey Billups or a Brandon Roy-esque player with obviously that burst. And at the lowest, a fiery George Hill. So take that what you will from everywhere we've seen the player comparisons. But not only does he do that, the scoring, that D Rose-esque finishing around the rim, but he is clutch. And that's not just to take that one half-court shot he's taken. From all accounts, from all reports, they're saying that Jalen Suggs, down the fourth quarter of a game, he's a leader. He commands that ball. And Riker, Pascal Siakam's great. But as a number 1 option, people had question marks about him. Fred VanVleet obviously has that confidence to take those shots and make big shots, even on the biggest stage in the NBA Finals. But again, his lack of finishing around the rim when there's defense around, it limits his ability to score. And that's why you've seen teams load up on Fred, because they've kind of learned he's our go-to guy now at the end of games. Right in the playoffs last year, he got blocked on that game-winning attempt, tying attempt, I believe it was, in Game 7 against the Boston Celtics. And we've seen over the course of the season, Suggs could be a guy that could be that closer, even if he's not the number 1 option just yet, but a closer for this team. I look at Suggs as just the juice striker. I'm surprised you're low on him.
That won't happen. That won't happen. He's not going to come off he's not going to come first season rookie and close games if the Raptors are trying to be a playoff team, because I'm looking at next season.
Luka's the Trays and the guys.
Okay, Luka or Trey didn't even make the playoffs until his third until this season. Now all of a sudden,
he was the closer.
Yes, but we want to compete next year. How many years are you willing to be a bottom feeder playoff team or miss the playoffs until you're good again? Because this young core that we have, right? Eventually you're going to have to start paying. Well, I guess you're going to have to start paying everyone really soon, because Gary Trent Jr.'s contract is up. OG is shortly to follow. You've already paid Fred. You've already paid Siakam.
Yeah, they've already been paid.
My worry with this guy. Yeah, they've already been paid. My worry with this guy is, what are his best points? Playmaking. Well, playmaking is not going to help us win games necessarily, because we already have playmaking in Fred VanVleet, right? Closing. I don't think a rookie is going to close games if the Raptors are trying to make a legitimate playoff push this year. So he's not doing the things that the Raptors need to bring them past where they finished this most recent season. But that's really the question is, do you guys want Jalen Suggs if he's the fourth person available when the time comes? The answer is yes, without a doubt, yes, because even if he's not the best player for you, you're still able to develop him. He's still the fourth guy in a four-person draft, and you're not going to pass on him just because he doesn't fit the positional need to go down and pick the next guy. That's what I would imagine. So I think anybody in the comment section, if they've made it this far, and your front office, you put yourself in front office's shoes, Jalen Suggs appears, he's the fourth guy up, you're going to pick him.
Yeah, you're picking him over Kuminga or Moody or any of those guys that are projected to go later in that top 10 selection area. Suggs it's clearly a four-person draft, and Bobby Webster came out and said you draft the best guy available, regardless if the Raptors they bring back Lowry, they have Fred, they have Trent. Suggs is the guy you take if he's available. Unless you're Masai Ujiri and you look at Kuminga as a future superstar, and obviously he has better scouts than you and I do just watching YouTube. So we'll see what happens. We could even maybe make a whole video on Kuminga and his potential, because he's the highest risk but maybe highest reward. I guess obviously Cade and these guys are the highest rewards, but there's a lot of risk, a lot of ceiling for Kuminga. But I'm surprised what you're saying about Suggs, because especially if we're losing at Kyle Lowry, I disagree with you on the point. Fred VanVleet obviously he's not a horrible playmaker, right? He's not a guy that's just a ball hog and these sorts of things, but he can over dribble at times. I look at Fred as more of a scoring point guard, a guy that is more capable of getting himself going and hitting those shots, hitting timely shots.
But he's played shooting guard basically his entire career.
That's fair. So maybe he hasn't gotten the opportunity to really be the number one playmaker for this team, but we haven't really seen it. Losing a Lowry, who has been our engine, who has been our guy, and whether we lose him or not, if he comes off the bench, because ideally if we keep him, we want to bring him off the bench, regardless of it, if we draft Suggs or not, because we want Trent looked brutal off the bench this season, and Fred VanVleet is not coming off the bench anymore. So exactly, right? So man, maybe that was just a very small sample size as well. So we'll dive into lineups and all those things after. But Lowry was the guy that's the playmaker. So Suggs coming in, I think he could really provide that replacement for Lowry, the Raptors' Grote, Riker.
It's my biggest fear that the Raptors are going to run a 1-2 combo of Fred VanVleet and another point guard. It's my biggest fear. And I also, again, I think it's taking a step back from where we want the Raptors to go next season. And obviously we're being overly optimistic. The Raptors finished 12th. It seemed like they were maybe trying to push the play-in tournament. Couldn't even do that. So maybe it's
could have easily been in the play-in tournament. We properly tanked.
It seemed like they tried. Though.
Sitting all of our guys in important games.
There was 2 games. There was a 2-game stretch, win or lose. That would have decided the playoffs. It was when you had Kem Birch in. You still had 1 or 2 guys that weren't on the IR.
We were resting like Trent, Lowry, Siakam, and OG.
They could have pushed the play. Okay, I just don't know if it's too optimistic to assume that they're going to be in the playoff mix. But that said, if they are, I think that it's extraordinarily optimistic to say that Jalen Suggs can come off as a rookie and then be an actual contributor on a playoff team. You know, maybe he could be that guy. But let me say this, all right? Let me say this. Is there any possibility that Jalen Suggs is not the 4th person left when that 4th pick comes up? Is it possible that based on Houston's needs and Cleveland's needs, that somebody else besides Jalen Suggs comes up?
Well, There's been rumors that the Cavaliers might trade, if they draft Mobley, if Mobley's available to them, they might end up trading Jared Allen, which is an interesting ordeal, right? Maybe the Raptors could jump in there at the center. We could probably make a whole video on that, but I don't imagine Mobley's fallen past 3. He's looked at as more of a top 2 guy. Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, they're the guys I've seen. Green I've seen anywhere from 2 to 4, and it's very divisive. When they have him at 2, they're comparing him to Kobe Bryant and calling him a generational scorer. But then when they have him at 4, he has a lot of holes in his game, doesn't have the defense, doesn't have this, doesn't have that. So I think Jalen Green is the most unpredictable player, but I think we can have a whole video diving in onto Mobley and Green, and maybe even if we trade up for them.
I'm just more so looking at Suggs to say, you have a lot of positive praise for him.
Yep.
We've already made a video on, I think, that Colin Sexton trade to say basically every team in the NBA has a point guard right now.
Yeah.
Of the Pistons, they're probably going to pick Cade, right?
Yep.
Of the Cavaliers, they're the ones that are looking to trade Sexton because they have Garland and who else? I can't remember his name right now. Okoro. So they probably wouldn't want Jalen Suggs. And then now you go to, or Houston Rockets, I guess, are first. Would they maybe want Suggs, or maybe they're going to pick, I don't know, because they have Christian Wood. It's just so up in the air. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, I can go back to saying, yeah, I'm the least sold of those 4 guys on Suggs. Ultimately, if I had my choice of all 4, Suggs would be the 4th choice. But that said, if he rolls around, I won't be disappointed with the selection. I just don't think it's what the Raptors need right now. It's maybe what the Raptors need a couple seasons down the road.
Well, you take the best player available. You take the winner. You take the guy that can play defense, get you buckets. That's what we have as a Toronto Raptors franchise. That's our championship formula. But let us know what you guys think. Are you guys excited to potentially get Jalen Suggs? Is he a future superstar, or is he a primo pass down sauce top pick? Let us know in the comment section below. Gotta give the praise ups to Andrea Bargnani. I was rocking his jersey. I think I still have it here. Yeah. This was the good luck charm to get us that top 4 pick. So shout out Bargnani for getting us up there in the draft. But let us know what you guys think is going to happen. You're the best to make it fire. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, all that cool stuff. Ryker, do you have any last words on Jalen Suggs?
I do not, Ben. We're going to see when the time comes.
For sure.
Cheers.